Good morning, cuz. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, great people.
What up, though? What up, though?
Man, I know you see this distraught look on my face this morning, man.
Hey, bro, that
This,
must mean we got a hot one, man. You
oh
definitely want
man,
to
this
see
one
this.
here, baby. Oh man. Listen, man, where's the world going? That's all I can say, man. All right, listen here, people. We talking about this gentleman who talking about these 7 kids that he ain't want and these 7 baby mamas. Let's talk about it.
Cal and Dave Jones are the hosts of the show. We living in some difficult times, as most of us know. Let's lift each other up and put down the stress. If you didn't know, the name of the show is called Rap.
Man, what's going on, cuz?
What's going on, man? Do we just need to jump in the video? Or do we need to give him any more preludes?
But just let me just talk for a second, man. This is exactly why we started this show, man. Willingly responding as people should, to help give perspective on some of this foolishness that's being accepted in the world. That's just nuts, man. It's like, man, stinking thinking, man. Because you see things from your perspective, cuz I see things from my perspective. The world, as people, we all see things from our perspective. Don't mean our perspective is always right. That's why you need friends.
Bro, you about to give him too much.
No, but hold on. We're just kicking it for a minute, man, because this is about to get crazy. You need friends around you, man, that can hold you accountable, like me and you do each other,
Yes,
and
sir.
different friends you got, like my other cousins, your brothers, some other friends I got, man, because it's almost like having a counselor. When you got people that's got real sense, not one-sided, not stroking your ego to just tell you what you need to hear because you need a yes man.
Right.
That's what keep you balanced, man.
Right.
Like, man, man, come on with it, man. Come on with it. Man.
All right, here we go.
Kids and 7 baby mamas. Now, for the past few days, I've been going live telling my story, speaking my truth. And a lot of women having an issue calling me a deadbeat because I tell them I was being irresponsible, yet not wearing protection. But I always tell these women that I got pregnant that I do not want to be a father to these children. And I offer to pay for the abortion. Majority of times, they'll either take the abortion or they'll take a plan B. But only these 7 have kept these children. But the crazy thing about it is they want me to be responsible for some children.
Stop. I think we're gonna have to deal with this in phases, man. This is too much. First, let's talk about, he said only these 7. So he basically saying he out here willy-nilly hitting everything raw,
knocking them off.
And he want to talk about how irresponsible these women is that he having sex with because they want to keep these kids that he slept with them raw and refuse to either one have a good withdrawal method where he pull out or he use contraceptives, you know what I'm saying, where he use rubbers or anything to keep himself from having to be in this situation.
Right.
And he said only these 7. So he out here just hitting everything raw.
Right. And so it really quickly, it speaks to our message last week, which is the opposition. We talked about those who have the sex addiction and the pain and the trouble that it's causing.
Man, this is a good one to piggyback off that.
That we are not talking to the people that are enjoying this season, but those who have realized the pain and the hurt it makes. So this cat ain't necessarily realized the destruction yet. So that's where he at.
Right. And he fell right in that trap we was talking about last week about a sex addiction. This is an issue. Anytime you saying only these 7 and the rest of the women either had a plan B or they had abortions, bro, once you understand, so you clearly saying you understand what you're doing. God say he held us accountable for things when we understand what we're doing. So you know you killing babies at this point.
Right. So let's hear the rest of what he said. He gives his perspective, as flawed as it is, but for those, you know what I'm saying, that want to hear the whole thing, and so we can attach this mindset. Let's get in it.
Them, I did not want. So for some years now, some of them been trying to get in contact with me, access denied, because I don't really know why you trying to get in contact with me. I done told you I did not want them kids. So don't expect me to be responsible financially, emotional, spiritually, mentally, or physically with some kids. I got 7 kids. Think about it. You're not going to force children up on me. Yeah, we both made the decision to lay down and have intercourse. We both was irresponsible about the decisions we made that night. Yeah, I could have pulled out, but I didn't. And I ain't care to pull out because I'm not the one that's gonna have to carry a baby for 9 months. It's the woman. In my opinion, women should be more careful on who they sleep with. Because you're gonna be like, one of my baby mamas trying to find me so I can financially support a kid I done told her or them I did not want. Another thing is, these just jump offs. These the type of women that I ain't even had to do nothing for.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. I'm gonna go after you this time, man.
He's just reckless, bro. Like he within his within his mindset.
I'm hearing a lot of static, man.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm doing that. Am I still there?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's okay now.
You go ahead.
Out.
I gotta fix something.
Okay.
The bare minimum, but they gave me access to their body, and they think I want to be a father to a child for one of them? Wait, I don't even have no type. He don't take accountability. Yeah, I do. I just don't give a. You ain't gonna force these children on me when I told you I ain't want them. Yeah, I can offer to pay for abortion, but at what point can I force a woman to go get an abortion? I cannot. A woman say, my body, my choice, but I say, it's my life, my choice. Before y'all try to stitch this and be like, black man this, black man that, I don't give a. I really don't. He don't take account.
Man, I don't know what's going on. I still hear some static. But yeah, and I really can't hear you. You sound far away.
Go ahead and talk on it. I'm gonna try to fix mine. Okay,
so touching on a few key points, like, this is why a lot of our women are looking at us and they got this, they can't stand a black man, and a lot of women don't want to give a man a chance. They run into different issues like this, or a guy like this that just don't want to step up to the plate. And I feel like a lot of the problem with this is, like we was talking about last week with the whole sex addiction thing, people are into sex and having sex for the leisure and the love and the fun, for the love and lust of sex and the fun of sex. You know what I'm saying? More so thinking about, the repercussions afterwards. If you're going to be sleeping with a person raw, if you're going to be having sex unprotected, people don't look at, the repercussions behind the what ifs. My thing is, if I can't raise a baby by you, or if I don't see no potential in you and being a good mother, or if I'm not physically attracted to you, where like mentally, I'm not turned on by you. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how fine you is. So my thing is, more of us men, need to start thinking more with the big head instead of the small head, because you need to make sure that if you sexually attracted to a woman, that you see other qualities in her other than just a fat ass and a pretty face, to where you can see something that if something happens like this, that, okay, I don't mind having to raise a child if this woman don't want to have an abort. These are all the things that men don't think with. Most men don't think with, because they thinking about the lust, and they want to get these body counts, and they want to get, they want to knock something off, and they living in, in the thought and the moment of, man, ooh, I want to hit this. And they're not thinking about the repercussions that come behind it and the what ifs, if that makes sense. Cuz, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, 100%. And let me ask, is my static gone?
No, it's gone. Great, man. I appreciate you. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Like, so, again, faith in society, right? So let's jump on society before we get foundational, because some people actually think like this, because he obviously was really heartfelt that his opinion or his thought was correct. And to be fair to him, because of how he was raised and what he was exposed to, how he feels, he believes is truth. I mean, it's truth to him, but it ain't God's truth, or it ain't productive truth. And it causes the problems that we have in the world. And this is the problem with this is really a result of systematic oppression, where society, and you talked about what Tupac said. He touched on this issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, the hate you
give little infants, fuck everybody.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So that hate, not only, it didn't start with the black man, and I'm not about to make this a race issue, but I'm trying to tell you where it comes from. That separating the man out of the home and putting the man in prison and leaving them wives to be, or the mothers to be in the house by themselves to raise the kids, and now developing this "we don't need a man" concept. These are systems to oppress a particular culture where we bake these ideologies because how world exposes us to just being by ourselves with no father, that some of us think that this is right. But you have to realize this is extremely destructive because you have kids, right? And like as Pac was saying, like that are being bastarded. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're left by themselves. God particularly made the man and the woman to birth a child, and they both have an intricate part in training the child, raising the child, helping their behavior. And as a man, you help to do that, you know what I'm saying, with the discipline and instruction. If you don't, then there's no regard for that child or no regard for the woman. And so you could think, even though somebody can almost justify that he may have had a good points because I told the girl and I let him know that I didn't have no part to do with this and all this other stuff. Yeah, you can have an argument, but it's based off a societal thought process that is just ridiculously destructive and stupid.
Man, yeah, that's good. That's real. And listen, like you say, and to get him, to not discredit him too bad when really it's hard not to discredit this man too bad because his thinking is so stinking. But we all know situations where we've heard or we've seen or somebody close to us, or even some of us have been in situations where we can understand his thought process as to a woman trying to trap you. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about that aspect of it, where you telling this woman you're not ready for children, it's a situation, not several situations like this man talking about. It's a situation where you slipped up, something happened, and you got a woman pregnant and you just ain't ready. And you can kind of, you know what I'm saying, familiarize yourself with how he feels, some of us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but moving on, you got to have the mindset of, listen, you know what it feel like to be a child. You know what it feel like, you know what I'm saying? If you had a dad, you know what it feel like if you didn't have a dad. At some point, you got to get past, you know what I'm saying, okay, I slipped up, and say, you know what, I got to step and be a father because the child ain't asked to be here. Back to the hate you give little infants, F everybody, Tupac. That's why we living in a world and a society where you got all these kids coming up where they're killing their parents, where they're going out in the world. They have no respect, no regard for the elder. They ain't trying to help the elder because it's starting at home. It's starting at the lack of love or feeling love at home, to the point where if I don't feel like my mother and my father love me, this is a real touchy subject for me, bro. Because like, my parents were struck out on drugs at a young age. I know what it's like to feel unloved. You know what I'm saying? And I know what it's like, you know what I'm saying, to feel like you in a world where don't nobody want you, or you not sure how life gonna turn out for you. So this is a touchy situation for me. So, for them children, at some point, he gonna have to get his thinking together, because it don't matter if the woman trying to force you to be a daddy. This is a man that's never going to be able to hold down a job or business or anything else, because child support going to be so deep up his, that he not going to be able to cash a check. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because his thinking is crazy. So he needs some real men around him to talk to him like we talk to each other, to say, hey, bro, you self-destructing. No matter how much you feel like these women are destroying you, or how much they trying to play you, or how much they trying to make you be a father, at some point, you putting spiritual, you building spiritual what's the word, bad karma against yourself.
Yeah,
because at some point, as a father, whether you want these kids or not, God gonna make a way for you to be a good father, long as you trying to be a fighter, and long as you trying to instill in these kids which way they should go, just being a decent human being. So for a man laying down saying he didn't pull out, saying you ejaculated in all these women, and you telling them they should be responsible for these kids and not you, but you wanted the sex. This stuff sounds nuts, bro.
No, he sounds nutty. And like I say, the danger is that he thinks that he's right. He's so passionate that he thinks he's right. But what he's missing, though, like, how would you help a person who maybe agrees with this concept? He's just hurt, bro. Like, if we just wanted, he hurt, bro. There's unforgiveness in his heart. there's a negative perception of what actually truth and reality is. And he has bacon in his subconscious ideology or philosophy that it is not his responsibility. As long as he can lust a woman, not love her, which means take from her whatever he need to get his rocks off. That's only thing in the barter that he has to give. He has no clue that there is that small decision changes not only his life or affects his life negatively, like you try to point out with the child support and things of that nature. He don't care about that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it affects generations beyond him. It affects the world and society beyond him, because we have bastard children. We have all these problems. So this inconsequential, ejaculation that he get off with a jump off, as he called it, it is all he sees. That's the whole window. That's all he sees. And
so is that a question you asked me in the beginning? Like, how do you help him?
Yeah.
I want to answer that question. I really want to. He need to go find the tightest handcuffs he can find, the tightest you can get him, and he need to put his penis in a handcuff and choke it out. That's what he need to do. And next thing he need to do is he need to jack off until he wring his penis out like an old dirty dish rag till there ain't nothing left, where he ain't got nothing else to give a woman, because he don't need nothing coming out of there no more. Bro. Thinking like that. Then he need to get around some women. I mean, he need to get around some real men like us that's going to let him know where he wrong at and talk 100%. Some sense into him and help him understand that his thinking is thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't need to have sex. He need to put himself on sex punishment.
Right.
With the way he think. He need to cut himself off.
He don't need a
penis, man.
That's literally the practical thing to really get him where you almost like, if he's gone so far into that thinking, that think he's justified, that he'll come back on and say those type of things. His mind is just is so gone. And so physically, yeah, you're right. He's just like a person who won't stop robbing or killing. You need to be locked up in jail. That's what you're saying. Until you
give him the death sentence or something.
Right, exactly.
So what are you waiting to catch AIDS?
Bro, there's recklessness in his mind. There's like, people don't understand that life is so binary. Like it's good and it's bad thoughts. It's positive thinking, it's negative thinking. It's the kingdom of God and it's the kingdom of the world. Everything on this side, bro, leads to destruction, whether it be bad eating, having too much lust and sex, killing, hate, envy. Everything that is not in scripture leads to death.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So coming into the things that he need, which I don't know if he can accept, again, is forgiveness, is good principles, is empathy for the women, is love for a woman. Just like Pac would say all the time, like, we need to love our women, like be real to our women, heal our women. There's so much that God or faith can bring to counteract what society and the world has done. We just have to open up. And that's why I'm so proud of us even having this conversation. Like, the empathy for this guy is that the thoughts that are in his mind is perpetuating this oppression and this crazy world. The enemy knows if he can break up, the first institution made by God was the family. If you can break up the family, you break up the neighborhood, you break up the city, you break up the state, you break up the country, you break up the world. And this is where we end. The world is a result of broken families and idiots. I don't even want to give them that word. And people who are negatively thinking like this, that they could bastard 7 kids and leave them with generations of curses, right? For not being trained, and let the world, who cares nothing about them, raise them. Like, bro, it's got to be bigger than him. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be bigger than him.
Right. Well, I want to ask you a personal question, because if you want to answer it, you ain't got to answer it, but I'm going to answer it. If you don't, I'm going to answer it on my end anyway. Have you ever had an abortion?
No.
You never have? No. Okay, well, I have. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I feel like God forgave me because I was young and I didn't know no better. So, you know, as I got older and I was able to familiarize myself with the feeling that came with it, you know what I'm saying? Because we all be in our quiet place and God will deal with us about different things. You know what I'm saying? If you got a sensitive spirit with God, if God is in your life, God will bring things back before you that you once thought was wrong. I mean, that you once thought was right. That's totally wrong, just to get your spirit familiar with it, so you don't go through life making the same foolish mistakes over and over again. So when God, you know, woke me up to it and helped me understand, you know, how wrong it was, then it changed my perception on it, and it made me start thinking like, you know, that's something I can't do. You You know what I'm saying? Again, you know what I'm saying? Because when you come in contact with a woman, you know what I'm saying? And it may be years later, she'll talk to you about, you know, what it did to her emotionally, physically, and mentally. Then you gotta be responsible to that. You know what I'm saying? And God forgave you in your younger years because he felt like you was foolish and you ain't know no better. Once you get knowledge of that and understanding, then you got to stand up and be accountable for it. So that's just one of them things that once you understand it, and that's just something this guy, you know what I'm saying, he gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, and until he had that personal encounter where he really understand how this stuff affects a woman and how much it tear them down and how much, you know what I'm saying, it mess with them as a being, then he ain't gonna never really be able to acknowledge, you know what I'm saying, the destruction of what he doing, not only to the woman, but to himself spiritually, because putting all, you know what I'm saying, creating all them negative seeds, he planted a lot of negative seeds, because anytime you land down with these women and you know you impregnating them or you inserting in them or you ejaculating in them with the thought of to yourself, if she get pregnant ever, then bro, it's nothing coming into your life could be positive.
At all.
You burning so much bread on yourself, you putting so much negative karma on the world on yourself that it's like, how can you expect a deal to go through on your dream house? How can you expect a promotion at your job? It's like you putting so much negative stuff against yourself. It's like you have no positive hope in your future and think that it's gonna go good for you because you basically putting yourself, you laying down in the devil's camp. If you understand what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah. It's so many, man, 100%. There's so many negative seeds, bro, that if you have this mind and you agree with some of the concepts that the guy said, that you're, again, it's like, oh God, I hate when that happens. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm back on. So look, there is love and there is lust. Like, I'm gonna give you the different definitions. Like, love is where you sacrifice something of value so that somebody else may advance, increase, or get better. So whether that's your time, your patience, that's your money, that's your ego, that's whatever. You sacrificing that so that somebody else may advance, increase, and get better. Say the child, say the wife or the girl or whatever. Lust is the opposite. Lust is where you take something of value from somebody else at the expense of them so that I can advance and get better. So when you have a selfish mindset that it's about me and what everybody else is doing wrong, and the extreme of this is something like rape, right? As opposed to love making. You will take somebody's, you know what I'm saying, goods, jump offs, as he called them. You know what I'm saying? It's for your personal pleasure. That type of thought process, that mindset is the essence of what the enemy and sin is. That is only destructive. You know what I'm saying? It sounds good as we talked about people who may be in the season, in the chase. I'm beating all these women. I'm doing all these things, and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? If you're going through that season, most men, I've been through a season where I, had my thing. And so I understand the sensation and the urge there. But when wisdom comes into play, right? When you realize the negative effect or the karma or the seeds that you plant, you got to grow up. Like, bro, you got to grow up. Like, you cannot be lustful and expect, to your point, things to come to you when you're only taking from people.
That is so good, man. And man, and that's why, man, back in the day when we had the whole I Rock, You Rock movement, the nonprofit I want to do, man, that's why God put that back in my spirit, man, because it's such a lack of love, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Being given to these children. And we need more men to step up that want to be men, whether they got children or they don't, or they're just a good father figure or just a good role model as a man to step up, man, and it take a village, man, to come together and just, get these kids some positive understanding, because it's so many young men and women that's just actually lacking a father figure, man. You know what I'm saying? That it's sad, man. And that situation right there, man, this whole conversation that he said 7 kids is that's gotta look back on that video one day and said, my daddy said F me from birth. My daddy said F my mom, and she was just a jump off. He never wanted me, so don't try to contact me. It's like, how do you come up in the world feeling like you don't even have a chance? You know what I'm saying? My father don't even want me. How do you ever? I don't care how successful them kids ever be. I don't care how hard how strong that situation make them, how much of a better father they're gonna be, how much of a better parent, how much of a positive role model or great citizen they're gonna be, they still gonna have that emptiness in their life, their whole life, feeling like who could be like this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the example. And that thought process and that experiential knowledge from that child. This is the sad part. It's usually what it becomes somewhat that reason you empathize and justify with, because the example of what he saw is the man doesn't need to care. The father doesn't need to be there. And so I commend every man that has experienced anything like this where the father wasn't in their home and they took that as I'm going to be the exact opposite. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much value and so much praise and affirmation that I give to the man to realize the pain that was there and know that I can't hurt nobody like I was hurt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But unfortunately, some of us never get around the right people to at least somehow God nudges in that direction to correct it. And it's just like a perpetuation. And that's why you have that generational curses from this concept.
You know what? And I commend any man that's experienced something like this and feel like that they had children that they ain't necessarily want, and they still stepped up to the plate. Not only, you know what I'm saying, paying child support, being a father figure, you know, and just putting themselves to the side to say, you know, forget what I want. You know what I'm saying? It didn't work out in my favor. It wasn't about me. The child is here. Let me be the best father I could be. You know, I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to send a special blessing out for any man that's like that, because, you know, that take a special human being. That's take a man with God in his heart. You know what I'm saying? Because,
100%.
you know, trial and tribulation come throughout life unexpectedly all the time. You know, it come to hit you. May it be a bill unexpectedly, a situation from a child, just life have its way with you. And, you know, a man that already got his quote unquote script wrote for his life as to how he want things to go, and something like this happen, you know, and they step up to the plate, man. I want to bless any man out here like that, because, you know, that speaks volume to 100%. Being a real man.
100%. Yeah. And I agree. That was where it said. I want to do a quick shift, and we giving this guy this mindset. It ain't him. It's the thought process that's baking in him. And we kind of ragged on him, and hopefully we gave you something to want to pull away from this thought process. We don't know if we can change it in this conversation, but I want to talk to the woman really quickly. I had a client who got, again, this is equal responsibility here. So it ain't just this clown, right?
Right.
Some of these, I had a client that came to me, and she was going through, you know what I'm saying, a breakup. You know, the guy didn't want to be with her more. She was with him 6 months and then got pregnant, didn't let him know, and then eventually told him that he had a baby coming several weeks later. And that was not nothing that they discussed that he wanted to have or whatever. And then so she was telling me how, like, what's some relationship advice, because this guy doesn't want to be around. He doesn't want to have the child, and he's acting all out. He's hurt, and he's saying that you didn't give me a choice in the situation and all these other things. And how can we fix this? And that was her questioning me. And, you know what I'm saying? At first, let me say, any negative thing that this guy is saying to you, young lady, is not excusable. But let me also say this. The way the world has moved, especially being in relationships without the concept or the covenant of a marriage with the intent to build a family, you just leave yourself open for stuff. So the fact that the world tells you that you can have this and make this decision on your own because it's your body, I get it, I agree. At the same time, you can't expect for him to not be upset when he's not included in the conversation. And for him to come back to you and now like everything is good and now continue to want to marry you. His life is affected. You know what I'm saying? His life is going to be changed with a decision that the world gave you in singlehood, in separation, because you run the show, because it's your body, your choice. That's all good. And we can rationalize and explain that. But there is two parties here. So you can't force him to love you. You can't force him to want to be there for you. You want him to respect the child, and we hopefully he get the grace, because you always have a relationship because you relate on having a child together. But don't make that the thing that he now has to be with you. And so a lot of times when you use this as a tool to lock a person in, women you need to take some blame out of this and cut that foolishness out, because the world has also baked in you that you're going to take from a man his seed and bring it up, and you good, and you got a check coming. You got to cut that foolishness out. So both sides need to come to a recognition and forgive whatever hurt they got inside of us, Let's know that we need to stop perpetuating the system that cultivated specifically Black Americans to think that this is okay. Faith says, aside from society, that we are to train up a child together in the way that he should go. So when they're old, they can do the same thing, right? We are to be together, married, to raise this child. Everybody ain't got to agree with it, but that process is what brings life and perpetuates grace and love and togetherness. It's the lack of this reality that is causing these consequences of foolish thought process on both sides of the table.
Right, man. That's a blessing you touched on that, man, because I wanted to say something about that too with these ladies, because you hear a lot of men talking about this too, like as to it ain't just men feeling like that. I mean, feeling like he feeling, but on the flip side of it, these women had these hidden agendas because they go after men that quote unquote they either feel like can take care of them. You know what I'm saying? You see it a lot in these athletes. You see it a lot in these athletes and these rappers that they think can take care of them. These women want to get pregnant because they want, a free ride through life. And then they want to have these children and then want to, turn it over to the court and get real vindictive and hide behind the court to try to maliciously destroy a man or try to take them for as much money as they can
100%.
Because their intent was bad from the start, because it wasn't no really sincerity and real love there from the jump. You know what I'm saying? They went in it with ill will. And guys, you need to know, man, looking at a lot of these women that you going after with these pretty faces that y'all jumping in their inbox on Instagram and Facebook, and y'all add them, and y'all, you know what I'm saying? You need to beware of the traps that's coming, you know what I'm saying? That's being set for you, because you're going after this quote unquote, you know what I'm saying, video vixen or Instagram model, you know what I'm saying, or just bad chick you meet in the club, and all you see is, you know what I'm saying, this excellent facade from the outside that you think you about to get, and you don't know, you know what I'm saying, it's a scheme and a scam. Man. Then you in this situation and you getting caught up, and you find out, you know what I'm saying, oh man, dang, she got 3 other kids by 3 other different guys, and all of them on child support, and you feel like, and you know what I'm saying, she done sold you a dream like she was really into you, and now you just another, you know what I'm saying, $2,500 a month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to just be more mindful, man, because God allow us to see things and hear things like this, because God say, you know what I'm saying, he send wisdom, he send warning before destruction. You know what I'm saying? And you got to take some of these words of wisdom in some of these different situations that you see and use them for your own benefit. You know what I'm saying? They always say experience is a good teacher, but a lot of times somebody else's experiences can be your teacher. You don't have to personally experience these things. You can look at a situation and be like, oh man, I remember my cousin Dave went through this when he a cold one ran up on him and tricked him, and now he out of $4,000 a month. I see this one coming. You know what I'm saying? So man, a lot of this, man, we just got to wake up and just be real to ourselves. A lot of us, we chase things that we feel like we always wanted, that we could never have, and we get an opportunity to have women and things, you know what I'm saying, that we ain't never had. Then we go at it, you know what I'm saying, because we feel like we having our chance, not knowing it's the devil. You know what I'm saying? My Wednesday wisdom, I told them beware of wolves in sheep clothing. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch out for things that look good, that's no good for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much all I got to say on this, cuz it's a wrap for
it's
me,
a
baby.
Wrap, baby. Well, I mean, all it is, and you wrapped it up beautifully, man. We got to be willing to respond, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? As we should. And so when we talk about faith and society, the world's way, man, it's just not right. There's a lot of enticing things where we can benefit selfish gain in the world. Excuse me. And that's the attraction. So I empathize with the chase, but it doesn't bring the return that we think it's supposed to. Right. So we got to look at principles, and that's all we bring in. Right. Right. Love you guys. And it's a wrap for me, man.
Man. Yes, sir. Love y'all.
Love you too, man.
I'm Cal and Dave Jones are the host of the show. We living in some difficult times, as most of us know. Let's lift each other up and put down the stress. If you didn't know, the name of the show is called Rap.